You know the drill, right? You get a pet, and you take them to the vet once a year for their shots. It's just what we've always done. But what if I told you that whole model is, well, it's kind of outdated? The science has moved on, and today we're going to dig into the new guidelines that are totally changing the game for our pets' health.
So let's just get right to it. The big question on pretty much every pet owner's mind: does my pet really need a vaccine every single year? It seems like it should be a simple yes or no, but the answer today is actually a lot more fascinating than you might think.
For decades, the answer to that question was a hard yes. I mean, it was the gold standard, just what you did. But now, we're in the middle of this huge shift in thinking, and it's all because we understand so much more about how our pets' immune systems actually work.
And this isn't just some fringe idea. The folks leading this change are the big guns, the World Small Animal Veterinary Association, or WSVA for short. They have a group of top-tier experts from all over the world who've spent years digging through the evidence to come up with a smarter, more scientific approach to vaccination.
All right, so let's jump into the first major concept here. The whole point of these new guidelines is to kind of lighten the vaccine load on our pets. Think about it. Why give them more medicine than they absolutely need? The idea is to stop the automatic yearly routine and start asking, what does this specific animal need right now?
And this really lays it out perfectly. We're throwing out that old one-size-fits-all playbook, where every pet gets the exact same shots on the exact same schedule. Instead, we're moving to a totally personalized plan. It's all about looking at your pet, their lifestyle, and figuring out what's right for them.
Okay, so how do we even start to personalize this stuff? Well, it all begins with a really simple but powerful idea. Not all vaccines are created equal. The experts have basically split them into two big buckets, core and non-core.
And here's the difference in a nutshell. Core vaccines, they're essential. Every single dog and cat needs them, no exceptions. Non-core vaccines, well, those are the maybe pile. They're only recommended for some pets, depending on their unique situation.
So let's talk core vaccines. These are the absolute must-haves, the non-negotiables. We're talking about protection against really nasty, life-threatening diseases that exist pretty much everywhere. Things like parvo in dogs or panleukopenia in cats. It doesn't matter if your pet is a total couch potato or a world traveler. They need these.
Now, non-core vaccines, this is where the personalization really kicks in. It's all about your pet's lifestyle. Does your dog go to daycare and play with a ton of other dogs? Then yeah, you're probably going to talk about the kennel cough vaccine. Is your cat an indoor-outdoor explorer who might meet other strays? Then a feline leukemia vaccine is something to consider. It's less like a set menu and more like ordering a la carte.
All right, so we've got our two buckets, core and non-core. But this brings us right back to that million-dollar question: how often do our pets need those core ones? And this, right here, is where everything we thought we knew gets turned on its head. It all comes down to something called duration of immunity. And I want you to really listen to this, because this quote from the official guidelines is the bombshell. It says, core vaccines should not be given any more frequently than every 3 years, because the duration of immunity is many years and may be up to the lifetime of the pet. Let that sink in. The protection doesn't just wear off after a year. It lasts for years and maybe even their whole life. Giving it more often? The science says it's just not necessary. So what's the new magic number? It's not 1 year, it's 3 years, minimum. 3 years or even longer between those core vaccine boosters for adult pets. I'm not exaggerating when I say this is one of the biggest shakeups in preventative pet care we've seen in decades. Okay, so that's the science, but what does this actually look like when you take your pet to the vet? Let's walk through what a modern vaccine schedule really involves, starting with the little guys, the puppies and kittens. First things first. Vaccinating puppies and kittens is kind of tricky for one big reason, something called maternally derived antibodies. The easiest way to think about it is like this. They get a temporary little force field of immunity from their mom. It's awesome for keeping them safe early on, but that very same force field can actually block a vaccine from doing its job.
And that's why they get a series of shots when they're young. We're basically trying to time it just right, giving a vaccine every few weeks, hoping to land one right as that force field from mom finally fades away. And for most of them, that happens around 16 weeks. So the most important shot in that whole series is the one they get at 16 weeks of age, or just a little after.
So once they're through that puppy or kitten phase, things get way simpler. They get one more booster, usually around their first birthday, just to be extra sure the first series worked. And after that, we're on easy street. It's on to that new 3-year-plus schedule for the core vaccines. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, so if my dog doesn't need a shot every year, do I even need to go to the vet every year? And that's a great question. The answer is a huge yes. The annual visit is more important than ever, but its purpose is getting a major upgrade.
It's all about this shift in focus. We're moving away from the appointment being about the shot and making it about the annual health check. The vaccine itself is becoming just one small piece of a much larger and, honestly, much more valuable conversation. Think about it. That annual check is a full physical, from their nose to their tail. It's a chance to really talk about what's going on, their teeth, what they're eating, parasite control, any weird new behaviors. And yeah, it's also the time to decide, hey, do we need any of those non-core vaccines this year? It's about proactive health, not just a routine poke.
But okay, I get it. It can feel a little weird. If you're skipping that booster after 3 years, how do you know for sure that your pet is still protected? It's a totally fair question. And guess what? There's a tool for that.
It's called titer testing. It's a simple blood test that measures the level of protective antibodies in your pet's system for those core diseases. If the levels are good, it's scientific proof their immunity is still strong, and it lets you and your vet say with confidence, yep, we're good, no shot needed this year. It takes all the guesswork out of it.
So, let's wrap all this up. What's the big takeaway for you as a pet owner? What does this all mean when you walk into the vet's office next time?
It means you get to be an even better partner in your pet's healthcare. You're not just following a rigid, old routine anymore. You're having a real, informed conversation with your vet, using science to build a personalized health plan that's perfect for your pet and your life together.
And that leaves us with a really cool final thought, right? Today, we're tailoring vaccines based on lifestyle. But what's next? As science keeps pushing forward, can you imagine a future where a vaccination plan is built around your pet's unique genetic code? It sounds like science fiction, but this whole shift, it feels like we're just getting started on a really exciting new path for pet wellness.